If I had £1 for every time I heard this phrase, I'd have enough money to run a quango. There seems to be this theory that it's elastic. If I put more money in, I get more services. If I reduce money, I have to take more back. I think this is baloney. Okay, it's a little bit true. And when you're talking about taking 150 million out of 450 million, it's certainly true. Let's not beat about the bush. But every time I hear this phrase, I counter it with another story. And this story comes from a managing director telling me about how he was going on a journey of organisational change. He had quite a lot of change he wanted to get through in his organisation. And one particular area, their call centre, had a reputation for being lousy. The call would come in, it would often get passed off, it would take a long time to get served. Even when it was closed, the customers weren't necessarily happy, it was costing a lot of money. He came out with this phrase as an explanation of what he wanted them to do. I'll read that out. I want you to imagine that it's your grandmother on the end of that phone. I trust you to do all that is reasonable and necessary to get her back on the road. If you overstep the mark, we'll sort it out afterwards. Now, isn't that an interesting message to give a team? I think there's two things in there that really strike me. One is trust, and two is changing the mission in the way people were working. And he's also making it real for them as well. And he's allowing people to find a boundary that's different to the one that they were operating in beforehand. And I think that's an interesting way to give people permission. I mean, I've met lots and lots of people in the public service and commercial organisations. You know, they're very, very dedicated. They want to do a good job. And quite often the organisation stifles them. The context in which they're working nails them down. That call centre turned around quite substantially over the next 18 months or so. Service levels went up. Satisfaction levels went up, the amount of handoffs obviously dropped very dramatically, and their costs dropped by about 15%. Now there's two other things he was doing at the same time. One of them was he made a very, very clear message to his department heads across all the organisation. I want you to collectively find 10% cuts across your departments. You have 2 months to do it, and if you don't find them, I'll find them for you. I think that's a pretty clear message. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And the other line he came out with at this point was, I needed to sack a few people to show I was serious. I think these are themes that we'll return to as we come along. You see, what we've done today is talk a lot about processes and the imperative, and Ray was talking a little bit about the people. This is actually a diagram from that managing director, and he went, you know, the problem is we tend to think about the processes and the systems, whereas the real issue, the deeper issue, the deeply embedded behaviour is in the intangibles, the politics, the behaviours, the beliefs that people have.